Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist, brought to you by OnePitch. Are you curious how OnePitch can help you find relevant journalists to pitch, including some of the guests on this podcast? Head to our website at onepitch.co to learn more. Today on the podcast, we're joined by Rose Minutaglio, a senior editor at ELLE magazine, overseeing features and projects about women's issues. Rose has written for a number of well-known lifestyle publications, including People magazine and 17 magazine. During the episode, Rose shares the reasons why she automatically deletes pitches. She talks about the Close of Our Lives column, how to format your pitch using short paragraphs, and more. Let's hear from Rose now.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Journalist, where we talk with journalists and what they like and don't like about publicists, because publicists can be friends with journalists. It is true. It is true, as we have shown on this show. My name is Beck Bamberger. I'm a co-founder at OnePitch, also run BAM, which is an agency in this space, this wild world of PR space. And today, very exciting, because we don't have so many lifestyle people on this lovely little podcast, but today we do. In fact, we have the senior editor of ELLE magazine, Rose Minutaglio. Did I get it right, Rose?
You did.
Hey, all right, Rose. Well, welcome. Oh, I feel like the fancy pants are here because you're the senior editor. Appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Rose, just in case maybe people have forgotten or maybe aren't up to speed, how would you describe the coverage of ELLE? It's changed quite a bit over the years, I know.
Yeah, I think we're in a really exciting period at ELLE. So, of course, we have the print magazine, which is, we do celebrity coverage, we do beauty and travel, and then we also do a lot of very important feature stories. Mm-hmm. So those can be political or newsy. And then, of course, we also have the website, elle.com, where it's very similar type of coverage. So a mix of celebrity, culture, beauty, and features.
Mm-hmm. And your coverage is quite wide, I would say, Rose. Everything from Shiv Roy on her Succession fashion icon stuff. You said the undisputed queen of quiet luxury. I agree. And then all the way to the Karen who cried kidnapping, all these things. So for you being in the editor spot, what dictates what you cover?
I like to have my hands in a lot of different projects and stories and kinds of stories at ELLE. So like you mentioned, I will do a story on Succession, but also do like a more serious feature, the Karen who cried kidnapping, the story you just mentioned, that is about a mom in California who was wrongly accused of kidnapping. So I do, yeah, it was a pretty crazy story. So I do a little bit of everything, which I like. And I also, I edit stories, but I also still do a lot of writing and reporting too, both for the website and the print magazine.
And how is your inbox?
I'm a psycho.
I don't think anyone's as aggressively declared themselves as such on here, but I love it. Yeah, I love it.
I embrace it. My inbox is always at 0.
Wow. So, okay. There's something happening with like the zero crowd. It's expanding.
I've listened to a couple episodes of the podcast and people have been like, oh, like I just have like a million unread emails.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Could not be me. When I get an email, I pretty much immediately look at it, either delete it, respond to it, or archive it. Our company, probably similar to a lot of companies, auto deletes emails after a specific amount of time. So what I do is if I know it's important, I'll just archive it right away. And it's really easy to search if something is archived. So I try and respond unless I'm in the midst of writing. If I'm having like a writing day, or I just spend all day working on a feature, if I'm not doing that, I will respond or delete your email immediately.
Wow. Just done. So you don't even get to the open. You're just going by subject line.
No, Well,
Because some people, as you maybe heard on here, they'll actually open all of them briefly, which I find absolutely shocking. But some are just, subject line slayers. So they're just going to delete from there, just from the subject line alone. You don't even get the open.
I think I'm the latter. I'm a subject line slayer.
There you go. Okay. Wow.
And I embrace that.
Hey, efficiency. How do you then discern a pitch that you will open or you will not, and it gets to the delete box?
I will say that I do get a lot of emails that I can tell just from the subject line are mass emails sent out or blasts. And so that's pretty easy to filter out.
By the way, what's a key way like, oh, clearly I'm just a mass person on this?
It's a couple of things. I guess the way my email box is set up, I can see like the first line of the email too.
Yes, me too. Mm-hmm.
So if it doesn't have my name in it, then I pretty much just automatically delete it.
Yep.
And there's just like the wording I've come to recognize as being like a mass email.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have interest? I think is like one that I'm like,
oh God.
So yeah.
Might this entice you?
Yes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty general. And I'm feeling like I'm not doing a good job explaining it, but there's just like, I can just tell pretty much right away if it's a mass email. So I'll automatically delete that. If my name is misspelled, I will also automatically delete that.
Rose, how do they misspell your name?
I literally got an email this morning that was like, "Dear Rosemary." And I was like, that's not my name. One time
it just smells like the flower.
This happened actually last week. Someone called me Ross.
Oh no. Oh, someone's playing with some AI that's clearly bonkers or something, because that's just so bad. Oh God.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I did have a flashback though to being in like the third grade when my teacher was calling roll and they called out Ross. They called out Ross, and I literally I was mortified because I was like, my name's Rose.
Oh.
So don't call me Ross.
Don't call me Ross.
What else? I feel like that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So those are some of the clues. Yeah. And then could you provide, I know we were talking a little bit before we got on here, a subject line that you're like, oh yes, can't wait to open that. Any that you want to share or elements of such that are great?
Yes, I love, and I think this is a common theme also in your podcast, but words like exclusive or for ELLE or for Rose, that kind of catches my eye. I got this really great pitch email. Actually, it was sent to my colleague. She forwarded it to me because it's a column. I oversee a column on ELLE.com called Close of Our Lives.
Mm-hmm. Which is super great. Everyone needs to see that.
Thank you. It's basically, for people that don't know, it's a series we do where we have powerful people talk about what they wore in a specific moment and why it matters. So our tagline is Close of Our Lives decodes the sartorial choices made by powerful women, exploring how fashion can be used as a tool for communication. So it's a really fun series that we do. And anyway, my colleague got this pitch for the series, and it was such a good pitch. It like caught my eye right away. It was basically from a PR person who works at NPR, who was pitching a White House correspondent. This story is already up. White House correspondent Tamara Keith, who is the president of the White House Correspondents Association. And she was basically pitching her for the White House Correspondents' dinner because she was going to wear this really interesting outfit. And it seemed like a really great inclusion for the series. But the pitch had a good subject line, which was, exclusive idea for ELLE. And then the wording in the pitch was like funny. She made it seem like a really funny story. And it was just a couple of sentences. It was right to the point.
Short and sweet. Yep.
Short and sweet, right to the point.
Did she drop White House in there?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say that probably helps.
She got in the PEG, which was the White House Correspondent Dinner. Yes. She got in that it was going to be exclusive to us. She got in that we could do an interview. It was like, it was just
all the yeses.
Yes.
And did she also state a deadline? Like, hey, Rose, I need to hear by blah, blah, blah.
No deadline.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Because usually we do that for exclusives with just, hey, or I've heard them done that way of just like, hey, just let me know by X date because I'm going to go to my next person. But
Yeah.
you have it for now. So, okay,
Yeah.
she must have really wanted it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
She didn't say that. I don't mind having a deadline in there. I think that's actually really helpful for me too. So I need to get back to you.
Yes. Just to be clear too, above board. But that's a great example.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by OnePitch. Are you curious to learn about the unique ways OnePitch helps brands engage with the right journalists? Head to onepitch.co and create your own custom media list in 5 minutes or less. Now back to today's episode.
Is there another example you particularly like or want to share? Or again, elements that make you go, ooh, yes.
I'm trying to think. Like I said, my name or my outlet in the subject line is honestly going to catch my eye. I mean, because I don't know who's not going to read an email that like has their name.
That helps,
I would say also, I guess this is like maybe advice. If the pitch is if it's too long, like honestly, if it's over 200 words, or like 2 paragraphs,
too much.
It's too much. I'm probably not going to read it. I don't have time in the day. I'm getting seriously like 200 emails a day. It's a lot. Like that's probably conservative.
That's probably, I was going to say for you. Because you must also don't you, Rose, being an editor, get freelancer pitches too?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I actually love getting freelance pitches.
Oh.
I really like working with freelancers. And I guess my advice for a freelancer who wants to pitch is also don't make it super long. Mm-hmm. Like 2 paragraphs is fine. Be really knowledgeable about the site and the publication and what I do. I really focus on features. So I don't do as much, I don't really do a lot in like the beauty space, or I do a little bit of culture writing, but not like a ton. So if you're pitching me like a beauty product or like a celebrity news story, like that's probably not something that I'm going to like be really interested in. So just like know who you're pitching to, keep it short and simple. And then I always and a lot of the freelancers who pitch me already do this, but a line that says, here's a link to some similar stories I've done or like some of my past work.
Okay. Good little hot tip for freelance writers coming to you. Very good. Rose, is there anything that bugs the crap out of you with publicists? This is a safe space.
I'll just say one thing is that I've gotten pitches from publicists who have sent it to other people on my team.
Oh, bad luck. Yeah.
And like we all sit right next to each other in the office, so we know you're sending it to multiple people, and that's super annoying.
Don't do that.
It doesn't. We're journalists, so we're really vain, and we like to feel special, and that does not make us feel special.
No one said it like that, Rose, before, so I appreciate you saying it just that clear and that clean. One person. And do you, Rose, again, sitting in the editor chair, do you forward pitches to some of your writers who you dictate or say, hey, why don't you look at this piece? Does that happen?
Yeah, definitely. I will forward stuff to section heads at ELLE too. So if I get a pitch that's really more culture or more beauty or whatever, I'll forward it to those people.
See? So you don't need to worry about hitting up 17 of the same people at the same outlet. Very good.
Exactly.
Got it. Anything else that we could just know or be in the know of?
I'm trying to think. The multiple email thing is really annoying.
Yeah, that's bad.
The too quick follow-up, like too quick of a follow-up, also very annoying. Like I'll have people that will follow up later that day or like early the next day, and that's too soon that's too soon for me, unless it's very obviously very timely. I think like, at minimum, like a couple of days before you follow up.
Yes.
Uh,
And just one. Yes.
and I think two
Really?
is like,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
only because I will follow up with people a couple of
Yeah.
times. But like 2 times, I'm not a huge fan of the follow-up via text. I've gotten that where someone's texted me only because it's like, it's like my personal number, and I'd rather you just follow up via email. I try and keep that kind of separate. I'm also not a fan of getting cold calls from publicists.
Who does this? I mean, that's just,
I mean, I have obviously like, yeah,
I don't pick up any calls myself. Like, do you ever pick up a call? You don't know the number? I don't pick it up. But
that's
I'm
the
like
thing.
the crazy millennial who's like, no, I don't.
No, same. I have, unknown caller phone anxiety, which I think a lot of
Yes.
people have.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
won't pick it up. So yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, Rose, real quick. If someone does not have a relationship with you, how can they build one?
That's a good question. I I honestly probably by email
Okay.
first. Like I said, I don't really want to talk to you if I don't on the phone if I don't know you yet.
Yep.
So I appreciate
Keep it classy. Keep it to email.
Yeah, I appreciate an email, and then if we've worked together before, happy to get a coffee with you or talk on the phone. I think, just because of the pandemic, like, getting coffee with publicists, I just haven't done it as much since the pandemic because it just, you just, like, weren't seeing people. So it's starting to, pick back up, but
Oh,
it's
big time, for sure.
yeah, but just, on not as much though as, a couple years
Really?
ago. Mhm.
Huh. Huh. And it sounds like you're totally fine with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, yep, keep it going. That sounds good. Okay. Okay. So don't invite her to coffee, everybody. That's the memo we're getting here. Go to the inbox and make it short and sweet. Okay. Okay. Rose, I have a couple of like rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Video, phone, or in person interview, and why?
Oh, for an interview, I always prefer in person. I think you get more color or what we call
Mm-hmm.
color. So it's just, background information or like,
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
what were they wearing or where did you go to
Yeah.
eat? Like that. So for an interview, if I'm interviewing the person in person, but like I said, if we're just like, if it's a publicist that I'm meeting with, let's just, do
Yeah.
email or talk on the phone.
Email. There you go. Bullet points or paragraphs?
Paragraphs, but very short ones.
Short. You said 2 earlier. So short, everybody. Okay. Short. Images attached or Dropbox zip file?
Is this for a pitch?
Yeah.
No pictures until
Requested.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it. So not even okay, everybody, not even a link, not even anything. Nope. Until requested. Fascinating, because I think people are like, oh, well, let me show you all the things I have. So, I'll attach everything. And you're like, God, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you
okay.
could add a line in an email that says I have assets.
We have, yes. And they're horizontal and they're this or whatever. But yeah, there you go. Okay. Good to know. And then this is kind of a longer question, but are there any sources you particularly look for and how would you like them pitched to you?
Sources. I will say in some of the bigger feature stories we will quote experts. So I've actually found it pretty helpful from pitches I've gotten for experts. So if it's a story about women's health, I get pitched doctors and all the time. And I've actually used some of the doctors that I've been pitched. So I find that really helpful. I guess especially when it comes to women's health stories, because it's sort of a world that you don't, know a lot about until you do, if that makes sense. It's really helpful to have people come to me for that.
Okay. Good to know. Rose, is there anything you want to promote about yourself or highlight? We just want to be here for you.
Thank you. Well, okay, sure. I have a very exciting story coming out in the August issue.
In print. Okay.
It's slated to be in the August issue. I can't talk about it too much.
Okay, that's okay, but we want to look for your name.
But please look for it. It's a very important, I'll just say it's a story about women's health, and it's very timely and very important. So please
can't wait.
Pick up the August issue when it comes out.
Get it in the newsstands. Now I am, Rose. I'm nothing like a hard copy magazine, in my opinion. So I feel you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rose. That's it. That's all we got for today.
Thank you so much. It's so fun.
Rose, senior editor at ELLE magazine. Get the August issue, everybody, and all the others, but particularly the August issue. There you go.
Do it.
Thanks for listening to this week's Coffee with the Journalist episode featuring Rose Minutaglio at ELLE magazine. For more exclusive insights about the journalists on this podcast, subscribe to our weekly podcast newsletter at onepitch.co/podcast. We'll see you next week with even more insights about the journalists you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.